So if you've never prepared a pastry cream before, I'm going to go through all of the steps how to do that. The way that we are creating our pastry cream today is very much the same as you would create one with traditional eggs. So a pastry cream is essentially just a custard, a cooked custard containing eggs, cream, milk, and sometimes butter. But of course, we're going to make everything plant-based today. So the first thing that we need to do is prepare our vegan egg. So we are using our panis egg today, so our vegan whole egg replacer. And I'm just going to add that powder straight into our measurement of water to start hydrating it. And what the egg is going to do, or in our case, our vegan egg, is emulsify our ingredients. It's also going to have some setting agents as well. So as it heats up, it's going to set. As it cools down, it's going to set. It's also going to give a nice creamy texture to our pastry cream as well. I'm also adding a very small amount of turmeric, and that's just going to give us that egg yellow color, and that's optional. You don't have to use it, but I think it makes it look even more authentic. And I'm just going to whisk those together just to start the hydration process so we can start activating all of those functions. Now to that, we're going to be adding our measurement of sugar, and I'm just using a white granulated sugar. And to this mixture, our vegan egg and the sugar, we're also going to be adding our starches. Now in traditional pastry cream, you do use a starch. We typically use cornstarch or flour, but to make it gluten-free today, we're using the cornstarch. So we can use it for both gluten-free or for the traditional. And also some pudding mixture, vanilla pudding mixture, or what we call custard powder. And what this is a heat-activated custard powder. So it's essentially just a starch with some flavor and color, but this is used a lot in the pastry kitchen to give the authentic taste and texture, and also add a little bit more thickening and a bit more color as well. So we'll just add that together, and we're going to whisk all of that. And then we'll be left with like a paste consistency. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. And while that is hydrating, we're going to start heating up our plant milk and our plant cream. You can use any type of plant milk that you like. I always like to use a unsweetened variety. So I'm using soy milk today, but oat milk works really well. Or if you like almond milk, you can use almond milk. And some vegan plant cream, so you can use coconut cream, or one of my favorites is the Flora plant whipping cream, which you can use for heat activated applications. So we're going to add that with the cream just to give it a bit, with the milk, just to give it a little bit more creaminess and richness. The margarine we're going to set aside. I'm going to add that at the end. So we're just going to slowly bring this up to 80 degrees Celsius. And because this is such a small quantity, I have opted to use a very small saucepan to make this pastry cream. You can just go by eye for the temperature, or you can use your probe thermometer. As soon as we get to 80 degrees Celsius, we're going to take about 1/3 of this mixture and transfer it in with our vegan egg and starches. And we're just going to whisk that together. When we do this with traditional eggs, this is what we would call tempering the eggs. So we don't want to engage it with too much heat all at once, otherwise you end up with a scrambled eggs. And you will get a similar result when you're using panis egg because it has all of the same functions that eggs do. So we're just going to do it in the same way. So the method is very similar. Okay, so we're going to get this back onto our heat. We're going to pour that starch and vegan egg into our remaining plant milk and cream whilst whisking. Just make sure you get all of that in there. And we're going to cook this pastry cream until it starts simmering and getting thick. So I've got it over sort of like a medium heat. It's It's not quite simmering yet though, so just waiting until get a little bit more heat. There we go, we've got some bubbles. So I'm going to just make sure that all my starches are cooked through. And to do that, you can check it with a thermometer. You want to bring it up to 94 degrees Celsius, or on a low simmer for like about 30 seconds or so. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to gauge. Another trick to tell whether the starches are cooked is just to get in there with a little spoon and give it a taste and make sure that you don't have any raw flour kind of flavor. There we go. I've just switched the heat off. You can see the colors come out now too, that from our custard powder and the turmeric together. It's got a very authentic pastry cream color. Now I'm going to be adding my vegan margarine, and I use a firm variety, which is like a high fat variety. I'm just going to whisk that in until it's nicely emulsified. Now I want my pastry cream to cool down very quickly, so I'm just going to pour it onto this tray. So I've got some more surface area. Don't worry if you take it out and it looks like a little bit lumpy, because we're going to blend it later until it's smooth. And just some cling wrap to contact. And just to cool that down super fast, I'm just going to put this into the refrigerator, or you can even put it in the freezer for like 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and that will cool down so we can process it and move on to the next step. I already have my pastry cream prepared and it's been chilling, so it's firmed up now. Now I want to process this until it's nice and smooth, and the easiest way to do this is in a food processor because it's a small quantity. I'm using my trusty little mini one. So we're going to pop that in there. And you can see with that panis egg, it's got that nice elastic texture that you get from a traditional egg custard or egg pastry cream. So it's really going to have a very authentic texture. And we just want to ensure that there's no lumps at all, that it's super, super smooth and silky.